Alright guys, so here's the full review of the Phylida GMT, the watch that I called in the unboxing and first impressions video, the Pagani Design GMT Killer. So let's find out if it actually is. So I'm not going to do the unboxing bit now. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll leave a link up here if you want to check it out. But we're going to get straight down into this. So, as you know from that video, we've got a couple of special things about this which make it, in my opinion, the Pagani Design GMT Killer. First of which is this bidirectional bezel, which you don't get on the Pagani. It's only a 60 click, but it's rock solid. And like I say, bidirectional. Lines up nicely as well. I have noticed though, or actually should I say someone else pointed out in the other video, that there is a slight issue with the colour on the bezel. If I zoom in, I'll show you properly. So as you can see on the 6, that lines up fine, that's right in the middle. But if I switch it round to the other side, on the 18, it is actually slightly off. It's a little closer to the 1 than the 8 than it should be. I have mentioned this to the seller. They've said that this unfortunately happens every now and then. So that's a little bit of a QCA issue. But it doesn't happen on all watches. I just got a little bit unlucky with mine. But something I thought I'd mention and just bear in mind as well. So I'll just quickly show you as well the detail on those hands, because I thought that looked really good as well. Really nice high polish on them. Really sharp, really crisp. They are really nicely done. You don't always get that, especially with the likes of Parnis and Pagani. My Parnis especially, they're nowhere near as crisp as that. So that is a really nice thing. They definitely picked a good handset for that. Quickly talk about the rest of the dial. So, not got any issues or anything on this. No dust or anything. There is a little bit of dust actually on the glass, but nothing underneath. And then the markers, indices, they're done nicely. Again, nice and crisp like the hands. And also, as you can see, the Cyclops works well. Although with my ring light it is looking a little bit odd, but it is lined up nicely and works well. So as for the rest of the watch, we've got your standard Rolex GMT Homage style case, nicely done, all polished, unsigned crown, and then we've got the Rolex Glide Lock style clasp as well, which again is another positive over the Pagani Design, because that has a, I think I called it a faux glide lock system. So we have actually got, if I zoom in, the proper actual glide lock, which does work really nicely. So you can slide it and then click it back in, and it fits really, really nicely. And then you've got the usual fold over, and it's rock solid. Not had any issues with that at all. I've been wearing this quite a bit since I did the previous video, so I've got a few little scuffs and scrapes, but otherwise it's holding up well. And again, we've got screw links on this, not push pins, which is always a bonus, always good. So getting onto the movement in this, we've actually got a DG3804, and then I'll show you that in action now. So we've got a screw down crown, pull it out once, and then you can change the date. Turn it the other way, you can move the GMT hand, so that moves independently. And then obviously if you pull it out again, second hand stops, so we've got hacking. And then obviously you can change the time, and then that GMT hand will actually move with the other hands then. And then you push it back in, second hand re-engages. And then obviously screw it back down. So let's get on to the measurements then. So we've got a thickness of about 14mm with a diameter of 40mm, lug width of 20, and a lug to lug of about 47.5. So pretty standard Rolex GMT Homage dimensions, nothing out of the ordinary. So let's check whether we've got sapphire crystal on this. Using the trusty Diamond Selector 2. And as you can see, yep, we have got sapphire crystal. So that's always good. So now, for the other special thing about this watch, and the thing that sets it apart from the Pagani, the bit that I also mentioned in the other video quickly, but let's show you properly, and that's the loomed bezel insert. So as you can see, that's lighting up pretty nicely already, but let's charge it up and see what it's actually like. And there we go. Don't know if this is coming up on camera, but the bezel insert, it's coming up as slightly more blue on camera. It is actually slightly more green. I've spoken to the seller. They say it's a mixture of green and blue loom on the bezel insert, whereas the actual indices and the hands are actually blue. After testing this for a while, I found out that, as you can see, the bezel insert is actually brighter. It also does last slightly longer than the hands and the dial as well. The hands and the indices, sorry. Not by much, but it is slightly longer. And like I say, it is brighter overall. But the hands and indices are bright enough, and as you can see as well, the hands last a little bit longer than the indices, so that's always good. You do want them lasting longer. Wouldn't be much good if the indices lasted longer than the hands, but that's not an issue. But just bear in mind, the bezel will last slightly longer than the hands. But again, like I say, they last a decent amount of time, so definitely not got to worry about that. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with this loom. So just to quickly reiterate the reasons why I think this is better than the Pagani Design GMT. So you've got the proper glide lock system, not the faux glide lock system that you have on the Pagani. You've got the bidirectional bezel, and it's also loomed as well, both of which you don't get on the Pagani. So for those reasons, I think this is better. They're both around the same kind of price, so personal preference. If you prefer the Pagani, maybe you're not into sterile dials, because this, like I say, it is sterile throughout. So you've got sterile dial, sterile crown, and sterile case pack. No branding on it at all. Not everybody's into that, but for me, I don't mind it at all. In fact, sometimes I actually prefer it. I think the Pagani does have a little bit too much on the dial. It seems a little bit cluttered. I prefer the cleaner look of this one. But again, personal preference. But if you're interested in picking one of these, I'll leave a link in the description. Do please consider using that if you are going to buy one. Helps support the channel, helps me do more videos in the future. So all that's left to do now is show it you on wrist. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. Really nice dimensions, but obviously you expect that with it being the Rolex GMT Homage. You know what you're getting, and they've been making them for quite a while, so they've got the dimensions pretty much spot on. And this one really does look good. Again, like I say, I'd pick this over the Pagani, but it's up to you. I just love the way the light plays with those hands as well. The high polish on them does look really good, and then with that ceramic bezel as well, and a nice bit of high polish around the edge of that. It looks really, really good. So I'm really happy with this. And with it having that glide lock system as well, easy to get it to fit perfectly. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. With it begin.